life is so busy and so hectic. And if you have a little bit of downtime, you're like, you know what? I just really want to watch a quarter of this football game. And there's my kid next to me on the couch watching something.
It's so true. On the weekend, I cut him off. I cut my 10-year-old off. I'm like, okay, that's enough. Enough's enough. Like, take a break. Within 5 minutes, I was like, maybe you should go back on there.
Sure,
because he was annoying and he was running around and he was chasing the dog and the formerly peaceful environment.
Welcome to Bad Parents, a podcast about three bad parents who are trying to raise good kids. She's Shauna.
Hello.
He's Ryan.
What's up?
And I'm Johnny. A Tell It Like It Is podcast for parents to laugh, cry, and to make you feel better about your parenting.
YouTube, the smartphone, and video games are all forms of technology. On this episode of Bad Parents, Shauna, Ryan, and Johnny talk about the relationship between tech and kids. Enjoy. I am a robot, and this is Bad Parents.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the Bad Parents podcast. My name's Johnny.
I'm Shauna.
I guess I'm Ryan.
Yeah, congrats. The theme, if you haven't already read it as you press play on this, is all about technology. Children, technology, us, as with technology and the way that it is shaping children's lives, how we are handling it as parents with our own children. And when I think about technology when I was younger, the way that it is different now, I remember my dad loved going to auctions when I was young, like 8 or 9, 11, whenever you were allowed to like stay home alone. Probably not 8.
8.
Let's say,
He lived a life, Johnny.
Let's just go with 13.
Johnny was a
right?
latchkey, though.
Right,
Keep in
that's
mind.
it. And I remember he said, I'm going to an auction, I'll be home at 5. Right? And 6:30 would roll around, and he wouldn't be back yet. Cell phones were not invented, no pagers or whatnot. So I immediately went to the conclusion that my parents are dead.
Oh, man.
Because there was no way for me to get a hold of them.
Yeah, right.
Right, where now it is absolutely insane the amount of connectivity we have, not only with our kids, our own parents, work. Technology really has a real grasp on us as people.
I'll say this about technology. I love a large portion of it, most of it.
You do most, okay.
Is it the amazing ability to see naked women online at just your fingertips?
Wow.
Does that have anything to do with it?
I actually like to use my phone to do research.
And he uses more than his
naked-
fingertips.
On naked ladies?
What do you think? I type with one hand? How dare you, sir?
You, sir, have a skill.
Where I have a bit of a problem with technology today, where I don't want to sound like the old man pointing to the clouds,
Here we
shaking
go.
my fist.
I love it.
But I will say this. If I could go back and bring back one technology that my kids would use, would be video gaming systems.
Okay, I know where you're going.
What do you mean? Because there are obviously amazing video game systems that exist
Correct.
for an exorbitant amount of money.
Correct. And also very confusing for my 1975 born brain because the Parkers grew up with a Texas Instrument video console. Yes, we were the only people, I believe, in the GTA that actually purchased that. Anyone else play Hunt the Wumpus growing up? I didn't think so. We screwed up. But our second video game console was the Sega, old school Sega, the original, not the Genesis, the original. And I loved it. And whether it's Sega or Nintendo, in the 80s, it was simple. You had the console, you had the 2 controllers with wired connectivity, and you had a cartridge. And if you put the game in and it didn't work, you blow on the cartridge, and then magically it works. And you're playing great video games. Simple, easy. Your buddy's over, you play.
There was no online connectivity.
Correct.
Right? You had 2 controllers, so you and a buddy would play, and that's it.
Yep.
I agree with you there.
And the games weren't like these crazy renegade dudes through the streets of San Bernardino running over hookers.
Right.
Right. It was like a football game or a soccer game.
Or aliens or asteroids.
Yes, it was. And it was kind of more innocent and it was fun and it was easy to operate.
Every once in a while you hear about a family doing a social experiment. Well, they'll only live with technology from the 80s for like a year. I believe that happened a few years ago. It was either a year or half a year where all they did was just 80s technology. And the one that I remember the most that I hated at the time, but have an affinity for, that like, if I ever want to show my kids, oh yeah, look at this. Remember the old brown box converter that had the television numbers on it.
Absolutely.
And you would have to go up and down to just like, because it couldn't handle more than 10 at a time. So it had a lever that you put on like level 2, it went from 11 to 20. And that's how I would be like, listen, your need and want now, right? Like the YouTube stuff. Dad, it's not loading fast enough. My God, man.
Remember you go through all the buttons?
That's it. Plug this in. My grandfather would call, hey, do me a favor, go around the horn. Just go around the TV shit stations just to see what's on, right? Go around the horn. I'll never forget it.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's just like there are channels that are just geared towards cartoons or geared towards cooking or geared towards watching animals hibernate. Like, it's amazing the technology we have now just for entertainment.
Well, and kids, like, they get upset if something is not uploading or streaming quick enough. We had to wait maybe a week for your favorite show.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you're like, whether when you're a kid and you're like, well, Mr. Dressup's on 2:00 on Saturday and it's Sunday, I got to wait 6 days for this.
Sure. And if you missed it, you missed it.
Yeah.
There was no like going on the global app.
Nope.
And downloading, you know, the latest edition of Big Brother. If you missed it, you missed it. Everyone at school was talking about B.A. Baracus and what happened on A-Team the night before. And you're like, I missed it.
There were no spoiler alerts. Everyone was spoiling everything. And I remember Oprah when she was talking about TiVo. Remember TiVo when the States came out? We were all sitting up here in Canada going, what?
What are you talking about?
Record live TV. What?
I still don't really understand it. Like how you can pause live television. Same with, I remember when Picture in Picture came out. I'm like, what do you mean? I can watch 2 things at once?
Yeah.
But I want to ask you, because Johnny doesn't have kids old enough to get into the gaming stuff yet. But Shauna, does Eli and Jack, they have the PS4s and 5s and stuff like that?
I think they each have a 4.
Do you understand the frustration I have, you and Mike, in trying to set those things up? And you need email addresses and passwords and upload this and software, and they need headphones. It's so frustrating.
I have a note in my phone just with username and passwords for the gaming systems.
I get it.
Just for the gaming systems, because out of frustration, you'll change your password and you won't remember what you made it,
Yes.
right? It is such a big ordeal to the point where my husband loses his mind and he has to go to the garage and I have to do it all. He can't comprehend any of it. He says, why can't you go? And he also doesn't understand why they can't play together.
Shauna, tell Mike he's not alone.
Yeah.
We have, and I hate to say this, and we have to sacrifice a lot of other ways. We have 3 PS4s in the house for 3 children because they all, like, once the little guy was like, I want one like my brother's. And then you know what they end up doing? They end up bringing one down to the family room on the big television because we have 1 TV in the house. And now I can't even watch television because they're playing these games and they could play them in the room, but it's extremely agitating trying to get these things working.
In which you just said something that amazes me as a society of like consumerism. You're the only person I know with 1 TV in the house.
Crazy, eh?
It's mind-boggling. But have you moved on to the every room needs a TV where all your kids have monitors, and all your kids can be entertained from what happens from those monitors. So technically, you only have 1 TV because you only need 1 TV.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, listen, aside from them bringing the gaming console down, the 1 TV seems to be okay.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, because I'm the dad, I just take over. I'm like, daddy's turn.
A little bit of old school there.
You know about technology better than I do with this. And so I may be making this up, but I don't think I am. You also have storage in these video game consoles,
yes,
right?
they have hard drives.
So hard drive. And then like most computers, they can get to the point where they can't take it anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the other frustrating part I have. One of my kids, this must have been a couple years ago. He's like, oh, I need to get rid of a game to put a new one in.
Oh.
So I'm like, what are you talking about?
Well, they have DLC, downloadable content, which a lot of the especially Microsoft and PlayStation, where you, instead of buying hard copy games, you just download games. So you only have enough room on, much like your computer or your phone. You only have enough storage space. So in order to make new space for new games, you got to get rid of the old ones.
And guess what? Guess who paid for those old ones?
No, hey.
That's the frustrating part. Because like one of my kids, like, I'm going to get rid of so-and-so game. I'm like, didn't we just get that like last year? But I need to get rid of something. But I'm like, that cost me $60.
Don't you we bought them each a hard drive that plugs in, an extendable external hard drive. We had to. We had to jump on that bandwagon too. Yeah, it's because you get one for the 15-year-old. Now the 10-year-old wants one too. And that's what we had to do because some of these games are huge.
Yes. And then the worst part is they come home from school and they're like, so Braden's got a PS5.
I was so happy the PS5 was unavailable for years. And now it's starting again, Ryan, because Christmas is, on the way. And they're like, hey, Mom, remember you said, because I did say it, if we can find one, we'd get one, thinking they'll never become available.
I also think that I'm the only one in the room who's ever really played hardcore games online where my online handle's Fat Guy on a Couch. So if anybody wants to be my friend online, it's Fat Guy on a Couch, and we can become friends. We are all Gen X on this podcast. And I just want to get your guys' thoughts on this. We are the last generation to know a life before the internet, where everything kind of changed. There's kind of like these people on TikTok and whatnot being like, Gen X is the greatest generation because we knew what it was like to play outside, but also have the ability to research the moon online. Do you like that fact? Are you worried that our kids won't have the same sort of childhood that we had? Like, granted, we didn't have the same childhood that our parents had, right? So there is going to be some sort of differences. Are you sad that your kids won't know a life without internet?
I am. I worry how much we don't realize is just... I worry because we have that base. So we know, as much as we're on TikTok, we know a life without it. And we know I feel like most of us know when we've gone too far, there's like a feeling inside that, I got to get off. I got to go outside. I got to do stuff. They don't have a comparison, and I worry about that.
Because like my kids are on YouTube Kids, right? And they see videos of like unboxing and whatnot. And I feel like there's a definite sense of why don't I have everything like these kids have already, right? Because they review toys and they have everything. Why can't I have this? I just hope that we have the ability before the internet and YouTube and all those sort of things to differentiate what is real and what is fake, where what is being presented a lot to kids is like real. And do they have that sort of ability? And I don't have any degrees. I'm just a guy. I hope that we as parents, and at least that's one of my goals, to tell them what you're watching is the exact same sort of like show that I would watch for entertainment on TV, right? Like when I watch Survivor or Big Brother, it's just entertainment. What you're watching is just entertainment. There's no truth to what you are seeing. And I hope that as a dad, that's one of my biggest goals, because I think that this isn't go away. And once they jump from YouTube Kids onto YouTube, where you're starting to get other sort of more serious sort of videos being thrown down there right in front of their eyes, that's where I think technology is good and bad.
I think we should break that down some more, maybe talk about, that kind of thing, kids and technology. But before we do that, I would like to say this. I love our generation for what you said. I was in a waiting room the other day and I was on my phone and I said to myself, and I'm being dead serious, I probably could do a year in prison if you promised me I wasn't going to be beat up, left alone, if I had my phone. I could do it. But I also love that I grew up where I learned how to socialize, meet, interact with people.
Yeah.
So I really, truly feel blessed, and that, we can't control that with our kids, but that's what I love about being in a Gen X.
Yeah.
Now, we did a podcast earlier, I think it was episode 4, about sports. And I think sports is the one thing that is the natural break.
That's a great point.
From technology that allows them to do the things like, I didn't need to learn how to play when I was a kid. It just happened.
Yeah.
And I remember with my neighbors who have 2 very small kids, same age as mine, I had to ask, is it okay if we just knock on your door? Or would you like, just a quick, flag text? Hey, are you guys coming outside? Yes or no? Because I want my kids to be able to just go and knock on your door and see if you're there to hang out. And I feel like sports is maybe one of the last things where it's just a natural break from tech.
Yeah, we downloaded FIFA the other night. It's gonna be
I would hate to think that most of this podcast is kind of slanted towards like negativity and technology and like, can tech, enhance our lives in any way? And I think the answer is yes. And I'm not sure, this could be dated by now. I'm not sure if you guys have heard it. Have you? Hands up, Shauna, there's no way your hand is going up. If you played an online video game where you have like a headset on and you're talking to other people around the world while maybe, fragging the enemy. No?
Okay, I have no idea.
I played Call of Duty a few times, and the online video game community can be extremely toxic.
That's what I've heard.
The things you will hear on there are out of control. This guy is online. He's playing some sort of online virtual reality game. So the video is him. He's got this thing on his head and he's talking to he's an older gentleman, I don't know, in his, let's say, early 30s, talking to a kid and teaching him a lesson.
What is 0 times 0?
0.
Finally, bro. What is 1 times 0?
1.
Now we're backtracking.
Can you help me?
All right, I'll help you. You ready?
Yes.
Do you know Minecraft?
Yeah.
All right, know how you can use a glitch and duplicate diamonds?
Yeah.
Well, you're duplicating numbers. So if you do 3 times 2, you're taking 3 duplicated twice. So what's 3 plus 3?
6.
Yes! What is 3 times 3? 3 plus 3 plus 3. What's that?
9.
Yeah! Then you got 10 times 5. But you just do 10 plus 10.
20.
Plus 10.
30.
Plus 10.
40.
And plus 10.
50.
Yeah!
So he's so ecstatic while teaching math he's got this stupid VR thing on his head. So let's just, before we get all tech is bad.
Yeah, that's
tech can sometimes be good. In a very nerdy sort of way, very sweet video.
Well, that actually reminded me of, there's a WKRP episode where Venus Flytrap was a teacher before he got into radio, kind of like you, funny enough. And he's talking to like a gang member, a guy who's from a rough neighborhood, and he's trying to teach him science. There's like a chemical type module, whatever it was. And he uses his buddies and terms that he understands to teach him the science. And I think that's just a great example of, you took something the kid loves and you turn it into something that he can now use in the future.
And it was great because the kid was a bit vulnerable. He's like, can you help me?
Yeah.
He's like, sure, no problem. Let's do it. It was great.
That's a good then to talk about VR, because my kids have the PS4s and stuff like that. And we're going to talk a lot about that and when screen time and all that kind of stuff. The one thing that we also have is that VR set. And it's kind of cool because it really gets your brain going. And we have golf, for example.
Oh, okay.
And so at least it's not really golf and it's not super, super active, but at least there's some thought into how hard you swing the club, which club you would use in this particular case or that particular case, and putting and hand-eye coordination. So there's a little bit of good that comes with that. That's good.
And maybe it sparks an interest, right? In an activity, and say maybe they're going to actually, because my son started playing Guitar Hero or whatever it was, whatever the current version is. And then he started playing guitar. And now he plays guitar.
Oh, right.
So, you're right. It's not always bad. It might spark an interest in a kid that normally wouldn't try something.
It could be like a gateway drug. Right? If you were playing the Guitar Hero and now you're playing guitar, because that was the knock against it. Or you should go play real guitar. Well, if you get into the music because of the video game and then decide to outsource actually how to play it, then it's done a great thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess the question really is at what age do you start, giving them video games or in, iPhones, iPads. And I will admit, and this is why this is an honest podcast. We're not influencers, on Instagram, mums that try to pretend that they have the world by the you-know-whats. I admit my kids have way too much screen time. And sometimes it's because selfishly, to be honest with you, it's that life is so busy and so hectic. And if you have a little bit of downtime, you're like, you know what? I just really want to watch a quarter of this football game. And there's my kid next to me on the couch watching something.
It's so true. On the weekend, I cut him off. I cut my 10-year-old off. I'm like, okay, that's enough. Enough's enough. Take a break. Within 5 minutes, I was like, maybe you should go back on there.
Sure.
Because he was annoying and he was running around and he was chasing the dog and the formerly peaceful environment became chaos. And that's why it happens. And, our parents, I love them, but they're very judgmental on how much screens their grandchildren have. And I understand from afar, it's different than what we had. But they don't understand that if they'd had the option, we would have been on it just as much.
How many times when you were home from school sick, did your parents just put you in front of the TV for 8 hours?
Exactly.
And that's how I justify it for myself. Is I say to myself, I watched a lot of television growing up. And you know what? Never really got in any sort of serious trouble. And to be honest with you, it's helping pay the bills now with what we do on podcasts and on our radio show. I mean, I just mentioned the WKRP thing right now because I watched it. Because I guess the difference is, because I always say that too, Johnny. I guess the difference though is when we left the house, we didn't have anything. Where now it's you go to the rink and because your older brother's playing hockey, and instead of watching the game, you're going to be watching the iPad, which we just had to watch the game.
Listen, sometimes we'll be at a restaurant and it will go in there with the best of intentions, right? We're just going to eat as a family. We're just going to kind of do our thing. And by the end, you just want to eat your food and maybe, not act up, and, they have their phones in their hands by the end of the thing. And you feel guilty as a parent, and
you feel judged too.
I bet you there's tons of people listening right now who are like, you guys, you need to be better. Just don't give it to them. Easier said than done.
Yes, agreed.
In certain situations. And it's hard. Now, both my kids both have their own iPads, and they get it periodically throughout the day. I'm a little bit more aware of it because I'm on my phone a lot. I think the job in which we have and needing to have that sort of communication about what's going on and communication with each other, we're on our phones probably more than most people, at least for work stuff. Mm-hmm. And I try to be very sort of vigilant. Okay, that's
I'm gonna Google it.
Diligent. Try to be very diligent about how much time they actually do have. And sometimes they can get away. The worst thing on the iPhone is Sunday mornings where you get your screen time notification.
See ya.
I don't see that anymore.
Oh my God.
No, I can't look.
You've been on your phone this amount of hours per day, and it can be a bit disgusting.
They should broadcast it on your living room TV, right?
Yeah,
there should be some kind of shame level involved.
It should automatically tweet out, right? Like, hey, just so you know, Johnny Garbutt's on there for 6 hours and 42 minutes.
One thing that drives me crazy with my kids with their phones is they can't do anything. They can't put it down to do something else. So, for example, I'll see them make themselves a bowl of cereal, right? Like I got 2 that can do that. One that still struggles. Spillage. And it's just like they'll go to the fridge and they're looking at their phone and they open up their fridge and they're not even looking and then they're spilling milk all over the place. I'm like, or I say, go brush your teeth. They take it in the bathroom with them.
Brother.
Like, I'm in your bedroom with you. You got your PJs on. I say, go brush your teeth. You grab your phone and you take it to the bathroom to go and brush your teeth. You can go 10 seconds without it.
Yesterday, Eli's iPad died and he had to go to the bathroom. He had to go poop. And he went in and out so fast. I said, buddy, look how fast that was. Usually he's like gone for half an hour. He goes, I guess I don't need to go in there that long. It's so true. They take it everywhere.
Oh, I'm sorry. I panic if like, especially my little guy, if he's like, my iPad's dead, I'm like, oh my God, buy another one.
My daughter likes to play like, should I go to the hospital after doing this task, where she tries to walk downstairs while watching the iPad. I'm like, I don't think you could do anything more dangerous. Like, why don't you go juggle knives? Like, I think like that would be, whatever. So the question is, iPads are one thing, YouTube, games and whatnot. When do you think, and you both have older children, when do they get the phone where now there's like texting access? Now people have access to them 24/7.
Yeah, that's scary. I think my answer is somewhere around. I have a 12-year-old that I guess I gave him probably a phone maybe a year or 2 ago. So maybe 10.
Yeesh. Don't tell my son that.
Yeah.
We did.
So then therefore Travis has one?
Yeah, and that I think Travis didn't get one that early. I think it's one of those situations though. Like I think we were getting one that's what it was. We were getting one for Travis.
Yes.
So let's say he was 12, and then of course the middle guy wanted one.
Sure.
So 10 is probably a bit early, but if he was a single son, my only son, I wouldn't have given it.
You wouldn't have done it that early.
But I will say there are, and I know what you mean about you don't know who's texting. And I'll be honest with you, my older son, when he got into it, at the time, a lot of the texts were his buddies, and it was like, hey, do you want to play this video game? Yeah. I'll be in my room in 5 minutes. And then there was a window with some girls that were saying some stuff, just kind of classic-y schoolyard stuff. Yeah, and I just thought, and it sucked because he wasn't there yet. And you're only a kid for so long. And it that part was disappointing.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with the access of a phone.
Is that maybe one of the issues? Because it's always said in like studies that like females, like young girls, like mature faster than young boys.
Oh, can you ever see it?
So therefore the conversations may be skewed a certain way where like you're texting with your buddies or you're texting with some girls in your class. So I could totally see that. What about you, Sean?
We did the intermediary. I met a woman at an open house, like at school. And we were talking about phones and like ages and stuff. She said, we came up with the best solution because her friends did it was the watch. So they have connectivity. They can call in an emergency because that's why a lot of parents do want it, right? And they can text, but they don't have such easy access to go online, take photos, go to Instagram because it's just your watch.
Yeah.
So we did that. How long it's been? It's been several months that he's had this watch. And for the most part, I do think it's a nice ease into the thing. Sometimes he's on there texting, and I've interrupted a couple times. And again, there is already at age 10, like grade 5, some mean girl stuff going on. And I remember he called one of the girls from his watch to tell him he got a haircut. And they're just like, it's just typical stuff. Like, I bet it looks terrible. And then they hang up on them. And it's just like, and boys and girls, just even at that age, there's that difference. And so I haven't seen a lot of it, but I think it would be worse with a phone.
Now, with that being said, the phones I got them are not phones. They're like the entry level iPhones.
Yeah, the touches?
iPhone Touch, I think. So you can still text and stuff like that, but it's not quite as good.
Sure. And you need Wi-Fi.
And you need Wi-Fi. That's right.
So like if you're out and about, like you can't get connected, which is great. Because I feel like as our kids grow older, that's sort of, and I'm not sure if we've mentioned it before, but I know we've talked about it maybe off the podcast, is that with us, no matter what happened at school when you got home, that was your safe spot, right? And nobody could get at you. And I really kind of did, upon looking back, I really felt like that. And no matter what happened or who I had an issue with or who had an issue with me, when I was home, I was safe. Now that kind of isn't the case as much anymore.
Point.
You hope that it is. You hope that you can provide that safe space for the kids. So so it's a real touch and go thing. Something that our parents obviously didn't have to deal with whatsoever.
No.
Yeah,
like if you were a bully and you wanted to get me, you came to my door.
Would you not say that this is the hardest part right now of parenting? I feel it is. The other stuff we can fix, and
it's the cyberbullying. It's the online predators.
Oh yeah.
It's the YouTube content that maybe a little bit more adult than we want them to be.
Yeah. And
I feel that, like, to Rye's point, I want to keep my kid a kid as long as we can, but also you need to educate them a bit of like the dangers of sort of like being online and having this connectivity, because, at least on my WhatsApp, somebody will just text me randomly, be like, hey, Cheryl, I'll meet you at the bar later. And I'm like, I know that that's a troll. Right? Somebody's trolling me on WhatsApp to respond. Yeah. And then they can do whatever they're trying to do. And I just tell them to go F themselves.
Oh.
Yeah, I tell them you can only talk to who you know.
Exactly.
But at the same time, you're not with them all the time. No. And you can get caught up in something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the predator thing is awful. Yeah. Like you get conned into stupid stuff.
Absolutely. Now, my daughter is 4. She's on her 5th iPhone. So I started early and often with her.
More screen time. More screen time.
All right, let's have some fun, shall we?
With cameos with the kids?
Please explain what's about to happen.
Okay, so what we did was we came up with a laundry list of like tech terms from, I guess, the 80s, 90s, a little bit from today, but not too many from today, because we wanted to ask our children if they know what something means, like what a floppy disk is. Because they have no chance. We thought, let's have some fun and just see what their little brains come up with.
Because they're always poking fun at us when we don't know what their little acronyms mean, right? So, hey, tables are turning here. What do you think this means?
Right.
So what you did is you both asked your kids about certain terms, the same terms. So I'll go through them here. I just want to let everybody know that I also tried with my kids. And every answer from Jack was poo-poo. Every answer was poo-poo. So I apologize.
So you asked, what's a BlackBerry?
Indeed. And then I asked him about, other things, and all he said was,
I love mommy.
No. And I'm like, Jack, like, either if you wanna, like, just, can you commit to the bit? Please, sir? And I'm just like,
I love mommy.
Okay, I got it.
Mommy doesn't make us answer questions on our phones.
That's right. Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, we moving on. So I'll just go to play them because I believe you set them up and you asked the question. So Rye, this is one of yours.
Drew, what is a CD?
Well, I know what a CD is.
What is it?
It's CD's nuts.
So he was wrong.
He was wrong. So he got punished.
Happened to I love mommy?
that's what happens from a 2 to a 9-year-old, Johnny. See how fast?
So just to recap.
It's CD's nuts.
Okay. So
wow.
CD
genetics
stood for...
at play there.
You can hear his brain. Should I say this or should I not say it?
You know what the best part is? Is I didn't even see that coming.
You know what he got?
I didn't even see it.
I said, you guys want like McDonald's or Wendy's? And he goes, Wendy's. And I said, oh, why? He goes, Wendy's nuts. Like it doesn't, anything that's D's, he just throws it in there. Anyways, love it. Okay, next
gifted.
One. Next one.
What is a camcorder?
It's a quarter that records stuff.
I love your details.
Yup.
He's actually proud of his answer. Just so everyone knows, he's 9.
Okay. So it's a quarter.
It's a quarter.
It's a quarter.
Got the word.
The next one.
What would you do at Blockbuster?
I know this one. You would get CDs and rent them out.
Hey, that's pretty close. Not CDs, but movies.
Movies, yes, movies.
So cute.
I thought he was going in for a second CD's nuts.
So you see, unlike his dad, like his dad just kills the joke. Yes, totally right.
All right, this is the last one from Drew.
What is a floppy disk?
It's a disc that broke and has water over it, and now it's floppy.
I'll be honest, I don't even really know what a floppy disk is.
Well, they had the hard ones, the hard disk, and then the floppy was all...
Like, didn't like the Commodore 64 have like the floppy disks?
Yeah, I guess so. Like a storage and stuff like that. Something. Okay.
Yeah.
You asked, we're moving to Travis, and Travis is...
He is 14 years old.
Let's go.
What is a Walkman?
Okay. It's like you listen to the radio on that thing, right? And you can walk around with on your hip.
Pretty close, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I think it's a shot at our job.
Yeah, maybe.
Radio. We had to say that's like back in the day, right, Dad?
Yeah, you had on your hip, right, Dad?
And Shawnee, you asked Eli the same question.
What is a Walkman?
A Walkman is where you could listen to radios and you can buy like clip, like you can buy artist songs and then you can put it in and then you can put these strings and that with ear things and then you put them in your ears and then you can listen to music in the radio station.
Like he got there.
Yeah,
he got there.
Strings is the best. Just put these strings in your ears.
I don't even feel like that's that new, that technology.
Like, in the earbuds, aren't they like 2 years old?
Yeah.
Oh my
God. We go back to Travis.
Off the top of your head, finish the sentence. Be kind and...
Be respectful?
You can be disrespectful as long as you rewind the movie.
That is so
That's
nice.
Sweet. That was sweet, actually.
And then Shauna asked Eli.
Finish the sentence. Be kind, please.
Don't swear.
Yeah?
Oh, we got good kids so far.
So far.
Likes. Unlike mine.
Okay.
Hey,
Your
Jack,
kid's just
Jack, stop saying that. We go back to Travis here.
What is Y2K?
Okay, I'm gonna have to go with one of those old white computers, those boxy things, you know, like back when you had hair, all that.
Wow, just
nice.
a shot.
A little cheap shot.
Yeah.
God, I hope they get their mother's genes. I hope they don't have to experience the baldness. But Y2K, when you think about it, like he's my oldest and he was stillborn 8 years after that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I explained to him, he goes, what was it, Dad? I said, basically, and I'm not kidding, everyone thought the world was going to crumble when it turned into the new year. And I said, I was so nervous, I was drunk in New York.
Yeah. And he also said,
back when you had hair, all that.
Just so you know, he didn't have hair.
No.
Okay, Travis?
Yeah, the joke's on you.
Okay, in 1999, he didn't have it. So Travis is done, Drew is done. We now move on to Rory.
That's my middle son, so he's 12.
Rory's question.
What's a pager?
A book writer.
A book writer? Yeah. Like an author?
Yeah.
An author is a book writer. And a book writer is a pager.
Yeah.
Oh, education, eh?
I'm pretty sure he's not going to be a pager when he grows up.
This is the hockey guy?
This is a hockey
Let's
player.
go.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
You need to read.
You asked Rory another question.
What's a VCR?
A VCR is a remote control car.
It's amazing. You can hear him thinking, like he's looking at me like, Dad, why? I have no clue what you're talking about. Like,
how did we not tell them? How have we not? Do they not care about our lives? Clearly.
But that's a great example. Like we never talk about, like I was surprised that Drew got Blockbuster. So there must have been something there he's seen.
Yeah.
Sure.
But you're absolutely right that we don't talk about, hey, when I was your age, blank, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we should, and then maybe they appreciate what they've got.
Last one here from Rory.
What does it mean to tape something?
Like to tape a hockey stick.
To tape a hockey stick?
Yeah. So you can go like Bardizzle.
How hockey of him. How hockey. So you can go like Bardizzle.
Hold on. So you have two kids that like love CD's nuts jokes.
Yeah.
And go bar dizzle.
It's like
your house must be like just the best.
It's like we might as well be a television show.
It feels like you live in a frat house.
Oh, it is. It's
like
a frat
from
house.
an 80s movie.
Totally.
Does he ever like say like anything like around the dinner table when you guys are like eating like past like the
like
the mizzle like
like sauce me over that like if you like a sauce pass maybe like sauce me over the ketchup.
Okay, so let's go to Flamborough, Ontario, which is where Shauna lives, and this question is asked of Eli.
What's a fax machine?
A fax machine is where it speaks facts. Like you ask it, like 5 + 5 is like 10. So it speaks facts.
I couldn't stop. You could tell he's laughing as I started laughing because it's hilarious.
But it's hilarious, but like for a child, you're like, I get where you're coming from, man.
Because we're thinking FAX, right? But when you say facts, like, you're right. I can see how he's thinking. Almost like Read All About It, a show that we were watching.
Yeah.
The computer just talks to you.
I also love the fact that like there's zero hesitation on his part.
No, he's
zero.
Right.
He gets it.
And bonus, can I say he knew what 5 + 5 was like that?
Oh, that was luckily. Imagine how embarrassing that. I don't think we'd be playing the clip.
Eli really showing off on the Bad Parents podcast with his math skills.
It spits out facts, Mom. Like 5 + 5 is 9.
Another one from Eli.
What does defrag mean?
Whoa.
Like frag grenade. Like you throw a frag. I play in my video games. I don't know if it's a real thing. What's the first letter again?
Oh, he wanted to hear you say D, then he threw you a D's nuts joke.
Oh, yeah. Let him hear this podcast. Oh, that's so great.
So this has been awesome. We've talked about our kids and asked them things. This is the last one from Eli.
What is star 69?
Star 69 is like a star that is like there's like a bunch of stars, and if you look at the sky at the right time, it'll show the number 69.
I was worried about that one, but it went pretty innocent.
There's a reason why the Parker boys didn't get asked that question.
Would there also be like, you know how you can buy constellations and like give it to somebody like for their birthday? If there was a constellation 69, right?
Oh man,
everybody gets it.
Like you would own it, right?
Own it.
Like
I would buy it. I would spend as much as I want on it. That's good. Those are all. I can see where his brain is going.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey, Jack, what did you think of this podcast? That's not nice. All right. We want to hear your bad parent stories. So send them to us if you would. badparents@curiouscast.ca. If you have an idea for a future episode, we want to hear that too. We're all on your favorite podcast platforms, and you can listen to our radio show every weekday morning from 5:30 to 10 a.m. on Q107 Toronto. Now, until next time, you are
Shauna.
Your name is
Ryan.
And I'm Johnny. See you next Wednesday on Bad Parents.